All right, let's talk about C++. If you've ever glanced at all the concepts you need to learn and felt, a little lost in the woods, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to take that big, complex world and make it simple. We're using a course sitemap as our guide, basically turning it into a clear, easy-to-follow roadmap. So let's start our journey.
So, here are the key stops we're going to make. First, we'll get a bird's eye view of the entire learning map. Then, we'll zoom in on the most important starting point, data. After that, we'll see how to actually make that data do something, and how those simple pieces build up into huge concepts. And finally, we'll touch on a really special kind of data. This is how we turn that intimidating list into a path you can actually walk.
And here it is. Yeah. When you first look at everything you're supposed to learn in C++, it feels just like this, a giant, sprawling map of a country you've never been to, with 0 directions. You can see all the towns and landmarks, but you have no clue where to even start. It's a lot. I totally get it. But our whole mission today is to bring some order to this chaos. Because believe it or not, among all these topics, there is one perfect place to start. A single, fundamental concept that acts like a big, glowing "You Are Here" marker on this map. And finding that marker, well, it changes everything.
And there we go. We've found it. We've zoomed right in. Our starting point, the absolute foundation of anything and everything you will ever build in C++, is data. Before you can tell a program to do cool things, you have to understand how the language itself even thinks about information. Now, here's what's so great about this map. Once you find your starting point, the path forward is just logical. You start with the basic grammar, right? The syntax. Then you learn how to make little containers to hold your information. We call those variables. And finally, you have to define what kind of information those containers are going to hold. And that's step 3, data types.
And this right here, this is the ground floor of all programming. Seriously, a data type is just you telling the computer, hey, this piece of info, it's a whole number. Or this one is just a single letter. Or even just this is a simple yes or no. Everything, and I mean everything, is built on top of this one simple idea.
Okay, so we've got our raw materials. We've defined our numbers, our letters, our true-false values. Now that we have all this data sitting there, the next obvious stop on our map is to ask the big question. What can we actually do with it? Well, if you look at the topics right next door to data types on our map, you get the answer immediately. You see operators. That's just how you do math, like adding and subtracting. Then you have manipulators and basic input-output. That's how your program actually talks to a person, how it takes information in and shows you the results. Now, let's zoom back out for a moment. We've only really explored a tiny corner of this massive map. So, why was it so absolutely critical to start there? Well, because that one tiny area gives you the power to build everything else.
So here's the key takeaway. Remember this simple concept? Just defining what kind of information you have. This is the fundamental atom. It is the single Lego brick from which all the giant, complex castles in C++ are built.
And just look at what you can build with that one little brick. All of these scary, advanced-sounding topics, arrays, strings, classes, the very heart of object-oriented programming, they're all just clever, powerful ways of organizing those basic data types we started with. An array is just a list of integers. A string is just a list of characters. A class is a custom bundle of all different data types. See? It all comes back to that one starting point.
Okay, let's quickly jump back to our starting point on the map. Remember, the full title wasn't just data types. It was data types and constants. We've talked a ton about variables, information that can change. But what about that second word, constants? This brings up a really important question when you're coding. Variables are fantastic for something like a player's score in a game, right? It goes up, it goes down, but what about information that must never, ever change? Like the value of pi or the number of days in a week. That's exactly where constants come in. This slide lays it out perfectly. A variable is like a box where you can swap out what's inside. A constant is a box that you lock and throw away the key. Its value is fixed forever. This is absolutely crucial for writing safe, reliable code, because it protects those fundamental values from being accidentally changed by you or someone else later on.
And that really brings our entire journey full circle. So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that every complex application you can possibly think of, from a massive online game to a super secure banking system, is at its core built from these simple fundamental data types we looked at today. The map might seem huge and scary at first, but once you find your starting point and see how all the pieces connect, you realize you have the power to build absolutely anything.